Artherin! Aw, happy Wednesday to you too, Artherin. Hi, Mir. Hope you're feeling better today. It's supposed to get hotter, so allergies act up.
Hello, hello, hello. It is that day of Wednesday. It's a Wednesday day? Could it be a windy Wednesday? Oh no, that would be quite tragic. Probably would. Makes me want to get a kite. I haven't flown a kite in a long time. The last time I flew a kite, it dragged me very far into the surf.
Oh, okay.
And I had a great time. The entire bit of it. What's going on, everybody? We got a bit of a show for you this afternoon. We're going to be celebrating 31 years of a thing we like to call Linux. We're going to talk about the AMD announcement, all the cool stuff that came out during that. KDN Live's got a new version out. I took it for a bit of a test drive, and Risky business with those fine, lovable people over at Pine.
Yay.
And a handheld Pi. It's not really a Pi, it's no droid, but it's gaming stuff, and we get to talk about it because technically it fits in the segment. Why not? All right. So we got about 10 minutes before go time. How is everybody doing? Enjoying the middle of your week? Maybe you've gotten into something. I know right at the beginning, probably about an hour ago, I saw a release. A couple of the routers and switches I use in the studio are from MikroTik. MikroTik has a wonderful reputation for making just crazily spec'd hardware as long as you can deal with the MikroTik OS.
Yeah.
Which scares off normies. Normies can't handle it.
Yes.
They see it and they run away screaming. They're like, because it's not a home router type anything. And, you're talking Cisco levels of BS.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get it figured out and you get it all down, you're like, all right, that's fine. I mean, I have 4 MikroTik devices in the house right now, and they are just tragically overpowered compared to anything that you're ever going to get from like Asus or TP-Link or anything.
Yeah.
Netgear. I mean, those are tinker toys compared to what you can get from MikroTik. And on that note, the latest version of MikroTik OS, now it's moved into stable support for containers. You can run Docker images on your router, which
I know, it's so cool.
why would you want to do that? Oh man, let me give you a good idea. You can run
Steve
Pi-hole
husband. Yeah, Pi-hole, that's a good.
on your router. Humming away, not doing anything. And if you were in our Discord, and Jordan gave everyone a lesson on resource usage for containers, which is clearly not very much.
Hi, FX boy.
You know what? Here's the thing, Arthur, and one of the beautiful things about Router OS is, like, once you get the command syntax down for it, and you get the Router OS headspace, which is also good, it's very easy to just SSH into your tick. It's not a problem. But it's got a nice GUI called Winbox that I will give people false hope. They're like, I can click my way through this. Like, it's even worse. It's even worse than the command line. I do enjoy it. But it's handy to be able to pull that up and get everything at a glance.
Aw. Hi, Beastie. I see you in audio. Good to see you as always. Web GUI Artherin uses. I hear you. I've played around with MikroTik Router OS. Ooh.
Now,
I guess I better take my break before we get started. Yay.
going in 6 minutes.
Okay.
And that, and 4 ways locked and loaded. You know what? I would say anything's better than having to deal with Ubiquity. That's where I'm at. Yeah, so we are going to be talking about the AMD stuff. Not right at the beginning of the show, but pretty close. I think that was a pretty exciting announcement. I know, it's kind of interesting to watch. People were trying to find something. You know, internet's got to be upset about everything, right? And people were struggling to find something to get mad about, weren't they? They were looking. They were trying. They're like, there's got to be something in this AMD announcement that I can be outraged about. Didn't really exist. It's pretty tight announcement. Now, I really wish they had talked a bit more about RDNA 3 at the end. I'm like holding that up. I'm like, really? Arthur and Ubiquity is loved by the R Home Lab because R Home Lab is I bought stuff that I have absolutely no use for, but I think it looks cool in a rack. And that's not a knock at my brothers and sisters that Home Lab's got just a bad name to it these days. Because I know some of you are like legitimately trying to learn some stuff. Yeah, I saw some people trying to complain about the pricing, but it's the same as the pricing for the last gen. Like, you want it to be less? Hey, Earthian, look at it the right way. Our home lab is for entertainment purposes. You know? And like, I don't knock it because it's not in me to come and take a piss on things other people that enjoy that are just like, it's not hurting anybody. I'm like, yeah, I like how this looks and I've plugged all the things in incorrectly. You know, you have that temptation. Like, none of that's going to function. But it's like, it looks cool and the lights blink. Like, rock on, man. It's like people who have a bunch of old, like, Dell PowerEdge servers and, like, racks. Like, is that doing anything? Probably not. But, hey, they like, you know, it's cosmetic. They like it. It's like RGB lights, man. Same thing. Don't do anything. People like it. Whatever. I don't have to look at it. Yeah, but Strider gets up. That's... He's got to have something to be upset about, man. He wouldn't function as an individual. And you have to appreciate Strider's tenacity of like finding things that like just scraping sometimes. Like, you know, that's kind of impressive. I don't think I could have found a way to get upset about thing XYZ, right? But here we are. We have that together. We have that together. When is Game of Thrones coming on? Wait, Game of Thrones is already on. What am I waiting on? The not Game of Thrones one. The other one with the dragon. Maybe we'll get a dragon in. Amazon's got a countdown. That's right. Well, I had a countdown. Lord of the Rings. Is that tomorrow? I think that's tomorrow. Should be pretty good. I think this is going to be pretty good. Talk about things that people are really trying to get upset about that, right? And I don't see... Beat it up, Jill. Throw it. Donk on it.
I know it fell.
But
Only thing about having a wired controller.
Lord of the Rings series, like, focused around Galadriel. I'm like, let's go. Let's do this. I'll sit back. I'll watch this. And I'm watching the new House of the Dragoon, Panzer Dragoons. That's fine. It's got Doctor Who in it, you know, and he's playing like a relatable character in the show. I'm like, all right, I can watch this. It's a good time. It's a good time. Fisheye. Oh, man. We have that. Let me grab something to drink.
That's cool. Steve Husband. Oh, I like the little bird. Cute.
Oh, that's right, Arthurian. That is right. Now, I've watched Morbius, and by that, I've technically skipped around through the movie. I've probably watched Morbius in about 20 to 24 minutes. And yeah, I completely forgot. Yeah, Matt Smith is in Morbius. I'm like, what? But now we have Matt Smith as a Targaryen. He's got a dragon.
Neat.
All right. Yeah, let me grab something to drink. We're going to pop right into this and cut into it. And,
Okay.
see if it's full of cheese. Maybe it will be.
Yes.
Who knows? But we're going to find out.
Aw. Those are neat, Steve Husband. I've seen pictures of some of them before, but these are cool. Oh, that's nice. Aw, Arthur, I am doing good. I'm a bit tired, but I am doing well. Oh yeah, so here's my mug today. Yay, I love penguins. I haven't used this mug in a while. It's one of my favorites, actually. Yeah, it's been a while. I love penguins. How are you doing today, Arthurian, this evening? You're 8 hours ahead of me. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful. We have our Labor Day weekend holiday this weekend, and Steve Husband actually, he won't be able to take a 4-day weekend, but he will get a 3, which is nice. One of our few rare 4-day weekends here in the U.S. So that's really nice. Are you doing something special, Arthurian? Sleep. Yeah, I hear you. That's what I feel like doing right now. There's Steve Husband's Martian. His Martian avatar. Yeah, he's gonna work on models, of course, on his extra day off for the weekend. It looks tasty.
Steve has a never-ending fascination. He wants to fuse an oil can with an octopus so badly that he puts eyes on it and gives it a ray gun.
Yep. It is a Martian from War of the Worlds.
If history has taught us anything, do not give octopi armor. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, it is actually.
It makes it harder to get to all their deliciousness. It's nothing like a cephalopod sandwich.
Ooh.
All right, we have that together. We got a 3-shot, 2-shot. We got a me shot. We got a Jill shot. We got... Oh, right, I need to... Hey, this is why you check these things. I do that. Oh, let's play the game where we drag the tab from the far right all the way to the left without going out of the browser.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Made it.
There, good.
Admittedly, in Chrome, it's not so bad. In Chrome or Chrome Beta, Brave, Vivaldi, things like once that tab gets loose, getting it back in is a chore because it's real spasticky and jumping around.
Yeah, and Vivaldi, it's a pain.
I'm like, how are you doing this so poorly? You're based on Chromium. Okay.
Yeah, Steve Husband, I love, that's one of my favorite pictures. That's the original.
We have that. That's good. Oh, man. Yeah, this morning has been kind of an interesting, like, quit tempting me. I was checking my Reverb, which is kind of like Guitar Sitter, but, you know, or eBay, but just for music equipment. Something is like, here's a control surface for like $300. And it's one of those like, don't need that, really want it, but
yeah,
no.
really want it. Yeah.
Really want it, but no. So that was that's what I call adulting.
Yeah.
I've run out of adult. So do you hear that, good bargains? Stay away from me. I'm out of adult juice.
Vin's not ready for hoarding yet.
No, Jill, I said it was something that I could use. I didn't say put on a shelf. Well, I mean, you can put it on the floor too. It doesn't have to be on a shelf.
Yeah.
Something that genuinely I take into account when I buy something, even if, especially if it's like an oddball thing, something that will 100% factor in whether or not I get it is how hard it's going to be to get rid of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, is anybody going to want this once I'm done with it? And if the answer is like 0, you usually won't get it. All right. That is together. I need to get down to our outro music. So we need to look for some alley Gertz. Unknown. There's some alley Goits. And that means we're going to have the LWDW outro. There we go. Oh, man. I know, Steve, you were quite excited about watching the NASA rocket, which did not launch. I was even up at...
Nice.
I was awake watching a live stream when they scrubbed it, and I'm like, welp. That was a shame. Maybe they'll get around to launching it.
Yeah, Saturday is the next try. They think it was a sensor that wasn't accurate. So
that will yeah, I gotta watch. I mean, I want to see that's what I want to see, more rockets going up from different manufacturers, because it has gotten kind of tame to where I genuinely don't catch every SpaceX launch.
Yeah.
Which I still cheer and clap every time that thing manages to land, like on a ship in the ocean. What? That is still amazing. Oh, more rockets, more better. Get
Artemis is exciting. To have man on the moon again is going to be wonderful.
Be really difficult to explain to somebody 50 years ago. They're like, so where are we at now? Outside of the gas giants? I'm like, nah, we quit. We haven't done anything for 50 years, man. We just kind of been chilling out. because you look at trajectories. When you talk about movies like 2001, that was based on that like extrapolated timeline from the moon missions. Like, yeah, of course we're going to be out. We're going to be spacefaring by 2001. Obviously.
Yeah.
Nah. All right. You know what? I look at it like this. If billionaires' new favorite hobby is to see who can do space exploration better, I'm okay with that. I could think of worse things for billionaires to,
Yeah, absolutely.
the world we live in. All right, everyone. Let's get into this. I'll tap that button there and bounce that back. 1, 2. All right, Reaper. Me and you are going to have a talk after this. I got to figure out. I have 1 meter that, like, Reddit, like, it's up to something. It's being shifty. There we go. All right. That's coming through. That's coming through. Ladies and gentlemen, let's record episode 341 for your bemusement in 3, 2.
Woohoo.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux, open source. I'm Vin, that's Jill, that's you watching us in front of a live studio audience online because, remote viewing, that's how we do it these days. Can't have everyone in one place. However, it goes down quite a bit to talk about this week. A couple of fun little stories. But Jill, you got to play some Trackmania with us last night because that's something we do on Tuesdays. It was pretty fun, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the maps yesterday.
I think.
And the one where we discovered a new goal to get through the map faster. That was cool.
If you were tuning in, the best part on Tuesdays, we load up 14 new tracks, and it's a mixture of things, and it's physics platforming, and puzzles, exploration. And the first map is always what they call an LOL map, which is just fun. It's silly, it's got springs on it or something, And I'd found one, and we have a private server, and I'm able to run a front end on that, which tells us, there's an internet database of all the times. So we're like looking at our times, and we had already been through all the maps, and we're back on that first map, getting ready to call it a night. I'm like, all right, let's do this map one more time. And I think we were like, the best we could do on this map was 14 seconds, but the Datamania, which is the internet record keeping, was like 9.
9, yeah.
So like right at the end, I'm like, who's going to find the skip? There's got to be a skip on here. Then instead of racing, that all turned to everyone crawling around in the grass, and we're out exploring, and it was kind of fun. It was like a team effort we found the alternate ending. Then we had to work a way to get to it. And we had one way that kind of could get to it. Then Alan found the correct way of like bouncing off of a podium that spun the car into a little hole that was hidden. Welcome to Trackmania. That's why we play it.
Part of the fun.
For like weird stuff like that. It is not a conventional racing game. And if you're like us, you're getting on in years. You want to work on that hand-eye coordination. You want to use your brain. You need to think ahead and new challenges each week. You can do it. Each and every week. We'll be back Friday for rounds matches. And that's on our Discord. If you're a Twitch sub or a patron, everything's pinned in the Trackmania's in Discord. Come hang out with us. It's a fun group. And I have faith in Beastfic that he'll figure out how to get the locator file for his custom car skins. We'll know if there was success by whether or not Ogie has a custom car by this Friday. We'll find out.
And last Friday was really challenging. We had some very challenging maps. And
I told every single one of them.
Yeah, and I did practice quite a bit. So I placed pretty high on a couple of the ones that other people didn't get through. So I'm happy.
There were I told people last Tuesday, I said, if you do not put serious time into some of these maps, you're not going to finish.
Yeah.
There were people on Friday that didn't finish maps. But that's how it is sometimes. Now, unfortunately, next week, it's all going to be dirt because that's what Jill has insisted on.
Oh, no. I made a joke, and now Ben's like, "No, I'm gonna," because of what you said. Because I only said I liked the dirt tracks now more than I used to, and now he's like, "Nope, now we're gonna have all dirt maps."
It's recorded. You can go back and watch the VOD if you want.
Yeah.
Nothing but dirt.
Yeah.
By the way, our audio stack is currently running on Debian testing. I did that day before yesterday. I was able to test that out during the Trackmania stream. It was kind of fun. Painless. Debian 11. Now, admittedly, there's not a lot of software running on Jackbox. Barely, X. And that's about it. Jack, backend, RT kernel. But yeah, you go into your app sources and you just swap everything from Bullseye to testing. You say, do that thing, do the update. And main reason I did is because I wanted to play around with some of the newer stuff because I have that 5600G in there. I'm like, yeah, let's see if it improves anything. Didn't really change anything. But yeah, that I love a nice smooth upgrade like that. And I'm going to let this one track testing for a while because it's getting to that point in if you've been using Debian, in the life cycle of Debian 11, and we'll probably got another year and a half, possibly 2 years before we're going to see Debian 12, to where you start playing around with testing. Like, let's see, I'm going to start moving things on because things are starting to get a little bit old. But I did get a new thing, and as always, if it's a weird piece of audio equipment, Fate has some strange, cruel joke of the system.
Giving it to Ben.
That it's going to be blue. Yes. Can't help it. It's a true story. I got another thing, and it's even vintage. I mean, this comes from a time of the 70s. That's right. I cracked the lid, and it smelled of Scandinavian witchcraft and high karate. This is the Orban Dynamic Sibilance Controller. Currently using it right now. It's a de-esser, and I'm not fascinated by a de-esser. De-esser's de-esser. What I was fascinated about is 526A, is that it's dynamic. Dynamic means that it's got some smarts in it, which had my interest. This is how my brain works. I'm like, all right. I look it up. I find the schematics. And I'm like, yes, this is yet another analog computer in the rack. And it is doing, it's just using some op amps. There's no integrated circuits in here doing anything for calculation, but it's able to, just stored voltages and stuff like that. So I'm trying it out. Seems to be working. It could explode. I need to go back and replace all the electrolytics in it. Nothing's bad, but everything in there is from like 1978. So probably need to change that out. It does have a little bit of a claim to fame, though, because I just call it the blue thing. It was used on the Thriller album.
Yay, Michael Jackson's Thriller.
There it is, being all blue, making blue thing noises down
It's
the
close to midnight.
And it's going to be interesting to actually run it through a live session like this as a de-esser, if you've ever dealt with like de-essing, because they have the effects compeller, which is a hissy boy. It really likes to generate extra snake jazz, but it's also another analog computer that's just amazing in how it works. And if you ever notice, like when you listen to our live streams, we're not loud, like we're not clipping, but we're loud. We got plenty of energy, and that's part of the secret of that. I needed something at the end of the chain. Now, when it's just like me, Pedro or Tihan or Jordan, that's not a big deal. You can kind of set it and forget it. Hard mode, it's me and Jill, because we S at guys and gals, we have different frequencies we S at, which some of you might not know. If you just take a regular de-esser, dude's going to be usually between like 55, 50, 52, 55, maybe down to 4. Jill, you're going to be starting like somewhere around 56 to 6,000 is the typical S frequency. So I'm curious if Blue Thing is smart enough to be able to handle both of us.
Cool.
I think that'll be a interesting test. I might do a little video about this guy. I don't know. It's not really Linux related, but who knows? Maybe I'll do like a de-essing plugin comparison or whatever. One last little bit of note. If you've ever been looking for hardware, I'm bringing this up because somebody asked me last week. They're like, hey, Vin, and this was during Trackmania, like, what microphone do you use? To which I said, which one? I have a lot of microphones. And I thought about that. I'm like, just go over to the Amazon list, which could be kind of confusing because while I do have an itemized list of everything in the studio, including all the hardware, it was not ordered. It was just in date of purchased, which means it was just scattershot. So if you have been curious about that, linuxgamecast.com. We'll do this as a team. We're going to hover over about. There's staff. We're going to go down to studio equipment. We're going to click that. This is now organized. And I'll show you what I mean by that. We have audio, all the Pi stuff, all the video, office chairs, networking, electric, storage, lighting, display, PCs. But if we go to audio, or like anything else, all the headphones are in one section. All the microphones are in one section, all the capture audio cards, all the audio interfaces, and so on, and control surfaces, microphone preamps, and mixers. All of it's organized. So you don't have to do scattershot. You're like, hey, I'm looking for headphones, or hey, I'm looking for that. And I know what you're thinking. Then you're trying to trick me into buying stuff on Amazon. No. Buy the stuff used. Go to Guitar Centers, use Segment. Find what you want, go there and buy it like that. This is just an easy way to find it. There we go.
Nice, Ben. That's awesome.
Happy 31st birthday. Oh, man, somebody is like,
wow.
Man, I can't believe I'm going to be 31 next year. I feel so old while I would go, man, I barely remember being 31.
Yeah, same here, Ben. So this month has actually been a really busy month for Linux software birthdays, including Debian turning 29 and GNOME turning 25. And last week we covered the X Screensaver software turning 30. And this makes me feel even older, actually. So last Thursday on August 25th, Linux turned 31 years old. Woohoo, hooray! I even wore my Linux 91 shirt in celebration. So it was on August 25th, 1991, when 21-year-old Finnish student Linus Benedict Torvalds made his now famous announcement in the comp.os.minix newsgroup that he's working on a free operating system for 386, 486 AT clones, and it's just a hobby. So here's the exact quote for those of you who have never heard this very famous and well-known quote from Linus. He says, "Hello, everyone, everybody out there using Minix. I'm doing a free operating system, just a hobby, won't be big and professional like GNU, for 386, 486 AT clones. This has been brewing since April and is starting to get ready. I'd like any feedback on things people like or dislike in Minix, as my OS resembles it somewhat. Same physical layout of the file system due to practical reasons, among other things." And this is just a short version of that full email. So it's definitely worth a read, especially if you haven't read it before. And it demonstrates Linux's humble beginnings from Linus himself. Very humble. And look where we're at today. Linux runs the world.
These things out. And it's always amazing when you go back and read that initial announcement of like, hey, I'm going to release something. I like Minix. I'm going to clone Minix, and this is going to be something to play with. And I always I genuinely try to keep that in mind when I see, lofty announcements of, somebody's hobby project of like, hey, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And like, could this be the next Linux type thing? Is this something we're going to be talking about in 30 years from now?
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing from what it's grown from. And you got to be careful with things like this. You never expect, I was talking in the pre-show, just kind of bringing that up, one of the first talks that Linus gave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was like recently and covered this year that I got to go back and finish cleaning the audio up on, which is just like a fascinating talk because it's young baby Linux.
Yeah.
Talking, and he's like very nervous. Like, I don't, it was very much like he was like, I have no idea why you guys invited me to come talk. And that was really fun. it's just an amazing story, and that really helped to bring a lot of people over to learning about open source and running an operating system that's not a black box.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Which is
it also demonstrates about how Linus, wants to be treated. He doesn't want to be treated like Bill Gates. He doesn't, he's very humble and always has been. He's a developer and coder at heart and likes to be quiet, in his room coding with lot of, things in his way and interruptions. So you can respect that. So he's definitely, he's an amazing person.
I think he's an okay human being.
Yeah.
Even Linus is like, hey, some things I need to work on. You got to work on that compatibility layer with people who are just, really interested in trying to waste your time. And I'm 100% with Linus on that. I'm like snapping back at people who just, didn't RTFM. You see that a lot when in the kernel Linux mailing list of Linus Rants is a good subreddit. Is all I'm saying.
Well, I had a wonderful time. I had the opportunity to meet him and talk to him privately for about 20 minutes at the Open Source Summit back in 2017. And that was amazing. I got to talk to him about how I first started using Linux with the installing the 24 3.5-inch floppy disks of Slackware Linux. And that I got that. I downloaded it from my brother's Elite BBS back in the day, and Linus was very impressed. He was like, "Oh, you were there at the very beginning." But he was really a nice guy, and I got a nice picture of him smiling with me. So
I think if I ever run across Linus, I'm probably going to talk to him about something he's interested in, like scuba diving.
yeah, he does like that. But he was real excited when I started talking to him about the BBS systems, and then also my organization, the Linux Chicks of LA, and how we still do, hands-on install fests with Linux. And he was really impressed by that because he said most groups are doing online stuff now and aren't doing hands-on. So I want to keep that going with lugs.
That used to be a thing. Remember lugs?
Yeah. Oh, and he had heard of Linux Gamecast. I told him I was going to be a Linux broadcaster on Linux Gamecast, and he had heard of us. So that was cool.
I think he's just being nice to you, Jill.
No, he actually said he knew of a few. He knew of a few of the podcasters. So
I'm just saying, knowing Linus and how much he loathes gaming.
Yeah, that is kind of true.
It's like publicly has come out. He's like, I have no use for video games.
Yeah, but he loves the fact that the technology has progressed because of Linux gaming. So,
ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about an AMD announcement because that kind of happened earlier this week, and people were kind of happy about it. I was excited about it. Now, in all fairness, I completely forgot about it. I thought it was maybe next week or maybe it was a week beforehand, but it got posted in our Discord. So I decided, like a lot of you, to sit down and watch it. We're talking about the Ryzen 7000 series launch, 7950X and more, coming not millions of years from now, not a paper launch, but it's coming in September. Pretty neat. This is from AnonTech. You can find all the links in the show notes. In our show notes. I guess I should have said that. Head over to linuxgamecast.com if you want that. Couple of notes I took away from this. No more 65-watt chips. No more power sippers. A little sad about that. And AM5, it's got some power, though. I mean, it can put out as much as 230 watts. Mm-hmm. But you're going to see, like, the first run, I think the maximum TDP on all these chips, about 170 watts. No quad channel memory. It's kind of sad. No 64-lane PCI hotness. A little sad about that, too. I'm kind of hoping like maybe some adventurous motherboard manufacturer will split out, bifurcate some PCIe 5 lanes and into like buy 3 lanes or something like that. I don't know. Add some extra holes. I love that as an option because you got rid of my regular Threadrippers, AMD. You did. Here's some good news, though. Your AM4 coolers, they're going to be compatible. They might require a little bit of a spacer plate due to height differences, but outside of that, no big deal. They didn't say whether or not AM4 thermal paste is going to be compatible with AM5 CPUs, so keep an eye out for that. Let's talk about prices, though. $299 to $699. That's effectively parity with the last generation's released, with your motherboard starting around $120. Okay, that's not too bad. I think all in all, it's very comparable to last gen's release, and they're getting pretty fast, Joe.
Yeah. So what I think is actually cool and fascinating is that the core counts are the same as the last generation. But AMD actually really focused this time on speed increases as well as their new AM5 architecture. And wow. So now actually AMD will have better single core performance than Intel. That's something they have been trying to achieve for a long time. And it's nice to see that. That was a pretty big deal. And there's 4 chipsets are being planned so far. The X670 Extreme, the X670, the B660 Extreme, and the B660, with X70 series boards available for the September launch, and the B660 series boards set to follow in October. I'm definitely going to pick up one of the B660 series because I already have a 450 and a 550, so... go to the next generation. It'll be cool.
You know what? I don't know, man. I'm feeling a little down. I think AMD's getting a little too mainstream. Might have to get a CPU from that little upstart Intel,
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. The current generation, what AMD, all this works out on paper, basically, and it's strange. Not terribly as strange as they were, say, like 3 years ago, but AMD is just going to own the top end. It's going to own the high end. Not so much in like the budget builds, because some of the i3s and i5s from Intel really are trading blows with their low end, especially when you look at price performance. And Intel has, for good or for ill, they have DDR4/5, backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
DDR5's expensive. Prices are coming down. Still expensive, and that's something you can do with the Intel board, is it can operate with 4 or 5. AMD boards are going to be DDR5 only, which I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal, but it's been a while. It's been a while. We've been running DDR4. You've been able to swap those RAM sticks between boards for years now. And speaking of longevity, they say the socket's going to stick around until, 2035?
Yeah, that's great.
Not 2035, 2025.
2025. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. My brain, dates don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. That's because we're getting old, Ben.
It's a mixture of that and the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And, you got to bring up an AMD announcement, because there is a disproportionate amount of Linux users who've just been running AMD since the beginning.
Yeah.
Since way back when. Maybe it's just we all like underdogs. I don't know. I mean, I got a stack of, and I got like a little wall display of going all the way back to their first 2-core.
K62, K63s.
I started with K5s.
Okay.
K5 was my first one, and then I had K6. I had K6 I don't think I had just like regular K6. I went from K5 to K6 and that was like a big jump back in the day. But
yeah,
it's been a fun ride, and you know what? Sticking with them through even the tough stuff, because I bought a Bulldozer CPU to support AMD. Should have bought an Intel. Intel would have been a little bit more, but it would have been a lot more performant. I still want Bulldozer. I had that 8-core Bulldozer that Jordan has now. He uses it to heat his living room.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He does.
Not even joking. Not even joking. That CPU by itself with a Hyper 212 on it will chase you out of a room in about 2 hours. It's dumping that much excess heat. So, Kadian Live has a new version, and it's always good to see what kind of new features we got, and maybe see if they've updated some things.
Yeah. So, yeah, the open source video editor, Kdenlive. It's also known, and for those of you out there who don't know, it stands for the KDE Nonlinear Video Editor. And they have a new release, the 22.08 release, which has lots of new features. I mean, a lot of new features in this version. So rendering now supports an experimental parallel processing feature for faster render speeds. I am looking forward to testing that out. I haven't yet on the rendering. So, and this release also includes enhancements to Kdenlive's proxy clip generation system, which features GPU hardware accelerated NVENC and VAPI proxy clip encoding for better previews before you do your final render. That will definitely come in handy. And they debuted a built-in subtitle tool a few releases back, and now it's getting an upgrade with support for basic styling as subtitles. You can now quickly change font family, outline color, font size, shadows, and background color, and more. And you can even import VTT, or web video text tracks, and SBV, the YouTube subtitle files, into Kdenlive now. And that's a big deal, especially for us content creators. Really great addition. And there's lots of new effects as well. I played around with the shear, new effect, exposure, color temperature, color overlay, and chroma noise reduction, to name a few. And a lot of these are effects that you get in, like, say, Premiere or DaVinci Resolve. So it's really nice to see more features added to Kdenlive, bringing it even to more professional level than it ever has been. It's awesome.
I took the Pepsi challenge. Now good on Kdenlive team. For a long time, they've been offering both Flatpak and an app image, which is brilliant. They even have a PPA if you're still using the Ubuntu bits. Now, a couple of things that are kind of neat. You can now do the thing. This has been something in DaVinci Resolve for a while, but I'm glad to see it showing up in Kdenlive, is being able to export guides as chapters. If you're wondering what that is, like when you're going through your timeline, you can make little chapter marks and just say, hey, at this time, this is what this is, and this time it's a good way to keep track of your clips and your project. Now Kdenlive can do a little export and just kind of give you your timestamps that you would need to post in your YouTube. It's not automated, but at least it'll just give it to you. Mm-hmm. Copy that, put it in your YouTube video, your Odyssey video, your Vimeo, whatever, and that'll automatically generate the little spots on the video with the descriptions, which is good. Now, a couple things I always like to check. I tried the app image for what it's worth. It's blissfully unaware of any of the multiple pieces of Blackmagic hardware in Threadbooper. Doesn't see a one, not a one. And that's like 3 different generations of stuff. I have Intensity Pro, and I have the Quad 4K card, and I have a mini monitor. It's like, nope, no Blackmagic device is detected. Might want to take a look at that. And something that we talked about. We understand why they do it. You want to default to like 24.95, 25 for that cinematic, because people are clearly going to be using this for cinema. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But and I know, and I'm saying this constructive criticism. I'm not mocking. I'm not joking. I'm just saying, let's be real. We know 99.99% of the users should be defaulted to 60 FPS because we got game capture, or we got something we've captured on our mobile device.
Yeah.
It's going to be at 60. And when you do import something that, it does give you the option, but it's a little pop-up. It's a little pop-up in the project bin that you could easily miss. So I'm just saying, like, just maybe consider switching that to 60. I think that's your biggest use case right there. Now, something I also want to address each and every time, you still have to manually add audio tracks. So we're going to take this video, for example. I'm recording this with OBS. I'm recording this in DNX HD 290, and I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 audio tracks on this video. With Kadian Live, I'm going to open that, and it's going to go into my project bin. I'm going to take that project and drag it to my timeline, which is your normal workflow. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
No feedback.
No audio track.
No, nothing. It just doesn't do anything. And there's no feedback there. There's nothing telling me. I know what the problem is. I can suss it out pretty quick. I'm like, you're not automatically adding the audio tracks. So if you had to manually go in and, just add, I think by default it's 2. And like, I understand, but then you can change that to your default of that. And I'm like, that's not, I don't always edit these shows. Sometimes I just have 1 audio track. Sometimes I have 2 audio tracks, and I don't need different projects for that. What I need is the detection when I drag that into auto add however many extra tracks that I need, so I can leave the default at 2, because outside of these shows, I'm probably not going to need too much more than that. I'd like to see that. That would be brilliant. I'd be very happy. Couple other things. I know I keep talking about it, but I'm talking from a place of love when I say this. That render page, just what I'm used to. I mean, things that like I want to see rate control. I want to see look ahead, AQ strength, keyframes, frame reordering, weighted protections, the ability to limit video bitrate during an export, a separate tab for audio. Because if I'm doing something and I'm exporting H.265, I'm going to be in an MOV container. I might want to be doing 24-bit PCM, or I might want to be IEEE floating point. I want those options. I'm never going to be exporting like AAC or anything like that. That doesn't fit my workflow. I don't do compressed audio when I'm sending it out somewhere.
Yeah.
That'd be nice to see. That's my feedback for whatever it's worth. Maybe nothing, but yeah.
No, I hear you, Vin. I have actually wanted more advanced features in the renderer as well. They did reorganize it, which is
It still doesn't make a bit of sense.
Yeah. But it's not like what you're used to in Premiere and DaVinci and Final Cut.
Literally any other nonlinear video editor ever in
Yeah.
the entire history of ever. That's me being a little snarky, but I mean, it's always been a very confusing layout. I'm sure it makes sense to somebody, but it's just missing some very standard options, and it has been for a long time. Again, I say that from a place of love. Also, I say that as somebody who probably makes more content from Linux than anybody else that I know of.
Yeah. But it sure has come a long way, though. Kadian Live is really, they're doing so many major improvements.
Who knows? We have nothing but optimism.
Yeah.
Nothing but optimism. Always look on the bright side of that. Now, PinePhone's got a bunch of updates.
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say PinePhone. Pine 64, but everyone knows what I mean when I say
Yeah.
PinePhone. Yeah, those guys. And the first one is they've added a racing fin to their new RISC V. Look at that. Look at that double stacked on top.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's unique. I saw that and it got my attention. I don't know if it was for the right reason. I was like, what is that? What is that? And let's take a look. They got the entire update. Bunch of new things going on over at Pine 64. A couple of things you want to bring up. Spare parts for the PinePhone are now in stock. So if you broke something, now maybe you can get it fixed. They've updated the SIM tray. There's been just a small revision to the PinePhone Pro, to which I have to imagine the ladies and gentlemen at Pine 64 had to go, really, we got to do this? They had to update the SIM tray. Why? Because people were determined to feed it micro SD cards.
Yeah.
Their life depended on trying to shove a micro SD card in there. So they've kind of made it you-proof if you were that person.
Okay, yeah.
Couple of things. Star 64 prototype. Risky business.
Nice.
With a nice double stacked, look at that. HDMI.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's even got a PCIe by 1 spot on it. RISC V goodness, as me and Jill both said, oh yeah, like wireless earbuds, whatevs. Pine Time. Couple of things added to the Pine Time. One of the issues is people were like counterfeiting the Pinesol.
Pinesol, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. My bad.
That's
And
okay.
which I couldn't really figure that out. A couple things. They got some new tips, by the way, and they heat up a lot quicker, which is also good. But there's now a web page where you can punch in your serial number for your Pinesol and find out whether or not it's legit. It's make sure it's not a knockoff, which I was surprised anybody would knock these off, not because they're bad kit, but just because they're like $30, right?
Yeah, they're inexpensive. It's kind of odd.
It's kind of what I was thinking about that. What else do we have? Oh, right. So for the Risk 5 bit, which I think is what a lot of people are showing up for, they're pretty sure the development on this is going to get pretty quick because it's going to be using Debian and Fedora have already been ported to the Star 5, which is going to be using a lot of the same internals architecture-wise. So a lot of that heavy lifting is done. I think that's pretty neat. And yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's got that racing fin with a stacked dual gigabit, I guess we should say, both of the Ether noodle holes and PCI. Did they say anything about the price?
I don't remember what if they did. I don't think they did.
Oh, let's see. Oh, right. And they also have the blade.
Oh, yeah.
Thing, which I don't have a use for that, but it's there if you need it. I think that was about it. I was just most amused by the nano SIM slot on the PinePhone Pro. I'm like, man.
That's awesome.
Can you just imagine how many complaints you have to get before you do a hardware revision? Because you're not going to do it with 1 complaint, 2 complaints, 10 complaints. It's going to be like 30 or 40 complaints. You're like, we got to redesign this. Why? Because people are dumb.
People keep shoving the wrong thing in there.
These are the same type of people that have peanut butter inside of their VCR.
Don't people have other smartphones that use micro SD? Oh, well. So anyways, there's actually also a big update for the Pine Time. There's a new companion app called Watchmate, and this app runs on desktop and mobile Linux and is compatible with the Pine Time running Infinitime. And the UI, honestly, is far easier to use than the other apps available. I had a lot of fun playing with it, and I even did an OTA firmware update for my Pine Time using it. It was just a few clicks and very simple. And you can actually install it via Flatpak. So that was nice. And, it already supports many features from Infinitime, such as, setting the time, of course, reading battery level, recording the heart rate value, controlling media player, and the firmware updates. And I just updated my Pine Time with the new Watchmate app, and was so impressed, honestly, with how quickly it did the update as well, because the other software that I had used on Android, it seems to be really slow at updating. So this is definitely a nice new app to look out for, and they're going to be making it even better and making that user experience for the Pine Time much, much easier.
I think the Pine Time falls into, again, it's one of those things you could just buy 1, buy 2. Like, hey, it's something to play around with. And I think that's something Pine 64 has excelled at, is these devices at that price, hitting that performance price point thing, and more importantly than that, managing expectations. They've made it very clear and communicated to the customer, like, I know you're not going to like this word if you're listening to the Pine people, but they're Tinker Toys, which that's something, and I mean that in a loving way. It's like something to play with. It's something, is what I'd call the original Raspberry Pis. Like, they're Tinker Toys. Like, you can do cool things with them, but I mean, who knows? Like, now you see what the Raspberry Pi architecture has evolved into, and they're no longer Tinker Toys. They're backbones to a lot of things. So looking forward to more and more and more. Maybe, just maybe. See, I want to keep patting everybody on the back because I want a nice, 2K, decent UHD possibly tablet that's 14 to 15 inches.
Yeah, a new version of the Pine Tab. We would love that. And man. Pine 64 has progressed open source hardware, and as a result, the open source software for the Pine Time, the Pine Book, the Pine Phone. I mean, the list goes on and on of the ecosystem, amazing ecosystem that they have created, and progressed Linux because of it.
True. All right. If you want to help us progress ourselves, you can do that by becoming a Patreon, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. I want to thank each and every one of you lovable miscreants for helping us do what we do, keeping it ad-free with our crazy non-existent business model. If we just give everything away, if you like it, hey, that's cool. But we do have a couple of bonuses. Like, we're talking about the Trek Media. It's called Linux and Laps. It's one of our pet names for it because it's an excuse for some Linux kids to get together and hang out twice a week, scheduled adult time with friends or frenemies, however you want. And there's a bunch of different, we have our own little subclasses. Some people are way better than me. I'm better than some people. And other people, like there's, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 9.
Yeah.
We got it all covered. But again, we're there to have some fun. And plus everything's equalized like that. But if you're a Twitch subscriber or patron, you get access to our super secret Discord. That's where we're at the other 6 days a week. We were even talking about that last night. I'm like, man, our chat never stops. It's international. It's just rocking and rolling. And it's not 100% Linux based. You don't have to worry. Don't be shy. Don't go, oh man, I got to talk about Linux stuff. Like, no, movies, Golden Girls, whatever you can come up with. It's going to be taking place. But speaking of Twitch, I want to thank Oil of Hope, 9-month resub.
Yay. Thank you, Oil of Hope.
Bringing it to us.
He's awesome. I enjoy having him in chat too.
And what else? We got store.linuxgamecast.com. Cover yourself in LGC merchandise, confuse and anger people or your immediate family. Give it as gifts to make them ask questions and look up about the weird stuff that you watch and buy merch for. That'd be brilliant. Amazon wish list, all that stuff can be found at linuxgamecast.com. Smash that support button if you see anything. If not, share the show, whatever you got going on. Just come in, stop in and say hi. We just love that. That's brilliant too. Now, let's get into a slice pie.
With a pie, or in this case, a cake with a hand on it, because we're going to be talking about handheld Raspberry Pis.
I just like this. This is from not. Sunshine Cake Shop. That's what I would expect from Sunshine.
Yeah, it's a bloody hand on a cake.
This is something we brought up on our game show Saturday, Linux Gamecast Weekly, but I thought it fit here as well because there's a new Linux handheld game console based on the powerful Odroid Into Plus. This thing's kind of neat. It's got a bunch of interesting bits in it. Let's take a look at that PCB. It's blue. Of course it is. It's a thing of questionable use for me anyway. Of course it's going to have some blue in it. And I'm looking at it. You don't necessarily need to worry about this replacing your Steam Deck. You don't. But let me start off with a selling point. And it's not this whacked out USB-C and Type A cable. No. Let me hit you with it. This thing's $111. Mm-hmm. So you're out there and just started paying attention. You're like, wait, what? I'm like, right? So what are we looking at? This thing's going to be running 2004, the Inbone 2. Gang of emulation cores, 2600 all the way up to 7800 in the Atari Lynx, Game Gear. Doesn't stop there. Game Boy A, Master System, Mega Drive, NES, PC Engine. You're like, yeah, whatever. Sega CD, okay. PlayStation Portable. Do I got you? N64? How about now? What if I told you this thing's got enough juice to do GameCube games? Yeah, because it does. It does. 2 gigabytes of LP, low power DDR4, quad core ARM, 835, 5-inch screen. And you can even do this PS1 era gaming on this thing. And it's not ugly. And of course, since it's Odroid type stuff, there's going to be a ton of 3D printed cases and stuff like that you can just download and play with.
I like that clear case. It's pretty sweet to see the internals. And yeah, I mean, how can you beat that price? That's
$111, right?
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. And it's really nice to see some great alternative Linux handhelds coming out, because of the success of the Steam Deck. This is, all these companies that have made these before making new ones that are even better. And, to get their niche of the market. And Odroid is a great platform. They're really powerful
is
and tiny.
something that's been around for a long time. This thing,
Yeah.
it's at that magic price point, $111. Like if it works, you come out ahead. Like, oh, the power's on. Neat, we're done. But maybe you want something portable like this, because let's be honest, that Steam Deck, Jill, not the smallest thing in the world.
No, but I like it because it has the bigger screen, because I have vision problems. So
could be. However, you could use the Steam Deck in self-defense. I don't think you could use this as self-defense.
No.
Unless you just really wanted to irritate somebody with it by giving them like Crash Bandicoot to play.
Yeah.
Maybe. But for $111, why not?
I know. Just to tinker with. And, you could hook it up to a monitor. So
here's the kicker. This thing's not coming out in 2023, 2024. It's going to be available in October.
Yeah.
To pick up and play with. And you don't have to get on a reservation list and wait months and sometimes get it bumped up. I know a lot of people, Steam has bumped up Steam Deck reservations twice now, which I know from personal experience. Now, 2 different people that had to cancel because they were expecting it to get their Steam Deck, in January.
Yeah.
Like after Christmas, and I'm like, oh, that's fine. You know what? I'm going to take this money and I'm going to spend it on presents or whatever on myself. I don't have to have that money together until January. And you get an email last week saying Steam Deck's ready. Give us that money. Like, that money just got spent.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy I came in. I got mine and I was able to get in June. So I was one of the early first people to one of the early first gen ish.
Yours. Ish. Yeah. Ish. I mean, listen, I got
it was
one.
A little
That's
late,
what I'm saying. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. All right, everyone. That's going to do us. We're running a bit long, but we got to bounce out of here. I wanted to let everyone know about that handheld Linux gaming bit. Curious to see what people come up with. But I need to go ahead and pull up, cue that music, roll the credits. Have a great rest of your week.
Yeah.
I still don't. Oh, yeah, dude. There it is. Ha. I knew I made it.
Aw. We have to thank all our wonderful patrons and viewers of LGC and LWDW, our advisors, Omegas, and Artherin. Whoop, whoop. Artherin's in the house. Our executive producers, Barbrance, Scott, Atomic. And yeah, the credits go by too quickly. I can't read them that quickly. We got Sea Monsters, Veritanuda, System T, David, Darkwing, Frostclaw, Nubbin, and our Death Notes. Lots of them. And our
I want you to thank each and every one of those people.
Yeah. Oh, I can't do it that fast, Finn. I'm sorry.
They make the show possible. If you're not a patron. Thank one.
We love you all. And Mir and Daisy Bobs.
It's
and
over
Beastwick.
now. This isn't going to make it in the show. It's too late.
Too bad.
All right. All right, we got about 10 minutes to play around with, and I got to get to work.
Okay. Yeah, that was fun.
Ah, there you go. There you go. You've triggered Nightbot and Shotbot.
Yeah.
Got to watch out.
Let's see.
Ah, thank you, Mira. I'll add the space thing to the bot. Oh, man. I know another thing with KDN Live that happened when I opened it up. It wasn't in dark mode. It was in the equivalent of Discord light mode.
Yeah, that the app image was too. Yeah.
Which just melted my retinas.
Yeah, I always have to change that real quick.
I was curious why they did that, because normally it ships in dark mode. Never had that issue before. I gotta play around with one of the things I gotta start looking into is getting my Stream Deck, not my Steam Deck, but my Stream Deck wired in more intimately with a Reaper, the DAW.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because what's going on there? Hang on, I gotta look at something.
Okay. Do, do, do. Yeah, I need to get a stream deck. That would make my workflow a lot easier.
For what?
When I'm doing recordings.
A recording button?
No, actually just to have all my apps automated, because I have a different set of apps I use for LWDW, and then a separate ones I use for Destination Linux.
What apps?
Audacity. We use OBS Ninja. Destination Linux. We just have a completely different tool chain, and I would like a quick one for OBS, because I do occasionally need that. But as it is now, I have, when I boot Linux, I have a script that launches all the apps I need.
So you just want some buttons to push.
Yeah.
Now, using BitFocus Companion, you could do all that from your mobile device next to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I actually kind of want the Steam Deck unit, even though I can do it on the app.
You already got a Steam Deck unit.
Yeah, I meant a Stream Deck.
You genuinely could use your Steam Deck to do it.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, BitFocus opens up a lot of cool things that you can do. Because a lot of people have written, Reaper even has like a REA mode type thing. But the OSC web stuff built into Reaper is pretty cool. Like, I'm a big fan of it. I just got to play around with it some more.
Yeah, so true, Arthur. And I just wanted a piece of hardware. I don't need to. I didn't want to use my phone or another computer for that.
Yeah, it's sad to report, unlike 99% of streamers, I don't have a Stream Deck for looks. I use it and abuse it. I got multiple pages set up on it to run these things, and it's connected to multiple devices. I still need to wire in the lights.
Yeah, the e-ink would be great. Yeah.
But I'm kind of at a point right now. Yeah. There's a module for controlling the lighting. And I have 3, 6, 7. I got 7 Wi-Fi bulbs in here now. Which is silly. But it do. And it'd be easy to cut them on. They don't do RGB. Well, they could do RGB things. I just don't have them doing RGB things. But it all boils down to, like, I need a bigger deck. I need more buttons.
Yeah.
I'm out of buttons on the LGC page. I got, basically with doing LGC, I got an LGC page, then I got a Chairquisition page.
Oh, okay.
But I can probably work out a way to do it with this. It's just it all boils down to Linux Gamecast Weekly. You know that silly effect that we do when we say Steam Update of the Week?
Yeah.
The reverb echo effect?
Yeah. Oh, that would be nice.
That's triggered live.
Yeah.
And normally what I do is I reach over here, then I press, you can see these buttons, you can see one button lit up. I got some buttons over here that I press that triggers the 3. And what I could do is First off, get back to this show so I can switch the scene back. There we go. Is tie everything to one button on the Stream Deck using the OSC. Which is something I've been meaning to do. Which this like rolls into a bunch of stuff, because then you got to learn about the next interfacing Linux is going to be on control surfaces, because I've seen a lot of confusion about how to get things set up. With a control surface, you have two modes. Now you have a Mackie mode, or traditionally, I'm using Mackie as a general term because there's also like HUI, HUI. But the gist of that is it's a predefined mode. Now, I have this other control surface next to this one. You can see the wheel?
Yeah.
The one that
I
spins
remember
around.
seeing it before.
And it's got transport on it. It's got play button, stop, and it's got other, like function buttons. It's got
jog
loop
wheel.
markers and zoom in and all that. The way you get away with it having all that functionality built into the controller is having a predefined map that pretty much all DAWs obey. With a Mackie mode, they know where that system's going to be there, so they can write their software to take advantage of it. Which is good. The downside of that is you can't add anything to it. You're like, I want to add a button that does my echo effect. Too bad. Can't do it. It's not set up in Mackie mode, so you got to use another mode. And you can't use two modes on one control surface. That's why I have two. This other one I have running in which is really just the general other mode called MIDI CC. So everything on this control surface, the one with a bunch of faders on it, is programmed by hand. It just starts out as a blank slate. So I could take, the audio fader for the background music. I could turn it into, just move it over to one of these rotary dials. And that could be my fader for it if I wanted it to be. Or I could have volume go up and down on one of these buttons. Like, none of these buttons are wired to anything particular. They can be anything I want them to be in the DAW.
Yeah, it's nice.
So that's why I got to have two of them. But the legitimate only reason I need one programmable button is for that echo effect on Saturdays. So if I can wire that in to the Stream Deck, I can totally justify buying that thing that showed up on my Reverb feed this morning for $300.
Okay, cool.
There was a point to that story.
Yeah, another reason, Arthur, and I want a Stream Deck besides, because I've looked into the other options. Honestly, it's because I can get it written off from my job, so I don't have to pay for it. That's nice. So I can just order it and not have to worry about it.
What's up? Keybos?
Yeah, it's a free. Yeah.
What's a Keybos?
Yeah, Keyboss, I think. Let's see.
Keybows?
Oh, okay. I don't know that one. I know a Keyboss. I have no clue.
Is WikiBrad alive?
It's one of the DIY mechanical, the little ones. The funny thing is I do have some of these, actually. Not this brand, but another brand of these little keyboards that you can configure from back in the day, actually. I'm doing lots of video editing. Yeah, that's a pretty one. They have quiet keys. Yeah, that's good. Pimerani is great. They're the ones that are making that e-ink color screen that we talked about last week.
Oh, okay. So that's like a Stream Deck for people who need something to do. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking for a project, go for it.
Oh, let me read about it.
It's solderless? What's the point?
Oh.
Okay, yeah. You know what? If your toddler needs a weekend project, pick one up. Pick one up for him.
Oh, Kibo OS. Okay, they have their own. Nice. That looks sweet, FX Boy. I just bookmarked it.
I think the one thing Elgato got right with their Stream Deck was the LCD assignable. With it, just like no hassle with that.
Yeah, pretty.
And just type out the
easy.
names. I'm like, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. You can put pictures on it if you want to get fancy, but yeah. Link this to the Odroid handheld? I don't know. I got a Raspberry Pi running my Stream Deck. Which, I made a video about setting up Bitfocus Companion on the Raspberry Pi with the Stream Deck. And somebody left a comment and they're like, you can do that just in the same system. I'm like, you showed up to a guide of how to do it with a Raspberry Pi, right? Like, that's in the title, right?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's about it. Let me see. Has anything happened? Nope. 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 You know what? The RTX A4000 is under $1,000 right now.
Wow.
Which is good. Which is good. That's progress.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a good time to buy a video card, strangely enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're supposed to get even lower.
Right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm probably in the next couple weeks. The price of the card I want is going to go down another $100. So I keep waiting.
The closer... This is going to be kind of an interesting one, because normally you have that 4.5, 5 month, like, legitimate dip when a new generation is coming out. Like any hardware. But you saw this, remember when the 30 series was announced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like the 3070 was going to be $500 card. That was faster than a 2080 Ti. What happened?
Yeah, never happened there. Maybe now we'll actually be able to get it for $500.
Right. But up to leading to that announcement in those months, people were dumping their 2080 Ti's for $500 to $700 on eBay.
Yeah.
See, but all the numbers have changed this time. We're in unfamiliar territory because a lot of people don't even have the 30 series. So they're not even interested in the 40 series or RDNA 3. They're sitting back going, how cheap are you going to make that series, the RDNA 2? How cheap are the 30 series going to get? Because that's what I'm buying. So we're going to see a lot of interesting deals. I think we've already seen EVGAs and the likes doing things that I thought were gone.
Yeah.
We're seeing things like EVGA's legitimately offering game bundles with video cards now.
I saw that. Actually, I was just over on
that?
their B stock, and I was just looking at their website recently. Oh, nice Beastwick. He got a 1080 Ti. Yeah, I paid full price for one a long time ago. Ugh. But they're still great cards.
If you buy, I mean, right now you can basically get current generation at or around MSRP. The problem with this being is we're coming up on, it's almost 3-year-old tech.
Yeah.
That's kind of the kicker. You're like, it's kind of hard to get excited paying MSRP for something that's 3 years old, right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh, that's nice, Beastie. It's always nice to get one free.
hand-me-downs. Nothing wrong with that. Somebody hand me down an A4000.
Whoa.
You know, they make, I saw somebody picked up one. What is the one below the A4000? Like the A2000?
Mm-hmm. 2000 series, yeah.
Does that exist? Yeah, it was the Y card because somebody was talking about, they'd picked one up. Yeah, it does exist. Look at this dinky thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
It's cute. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's 6 gigs, and like, why would you ever get one of these? And somebody is like, yeah, he bought one of the, thermal death toaster cases. I mean, they call them small form factor cases, right?
Mm-hmm. Mini ITX.
And needed something that was half height. That would fit, and apparently that fit. That cost. I don't even know how fast those things are. I think maybe they're as fast as a 3060. But they have 6 gigs of RAM, and they cost more.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when you were looking at that.
Nobody's getting an ARC GPU, Arthur. Are you talking about, am I buying that
The entry level one?
thing that Intel hasn't even, just denied when they went on their PR tour? When they went to, Lidus Tech Tips, and they went to Gamers Nexus, and they didn't even address the existence of that one that's finally hit market? No, I'm probably not going to pick that one up.
Oh, nice, Beastie. So Ogie gave you his hand-me-down when he got his new 3080, I think? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man, I just got a 30 series card, but barely.
Well, you got the 12 gig one, right, Ben?
Oh, that's the only reason I got it.
Yeah.
And, fortunately, Strider has had enough intelligence not to ever try to give me static for getting a 12 gig card.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a 12 gig card. I'm like, you want to see?
Yeah, you do.
Running 11.8 gigs of memory slam full on this thing? Because I do it every Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3080. I mean, if you're using it, or if that's really what it boils down to, though, right? That's what it boils down to. Like the 3060, I was excited about the 3060 3 years ago when it was announced because it was a 12 gig card. I will tell you flat out, I've never to this day looked at what the gaming performance of a 3060 is, for multiple reasons. Primarily, all of my gaming that I do, usually 99% of it is public. It's streaming, which means that I'm going to be playing that game in a 1080p window.
Lower resolution, yeah.
So I had to operate on the fact that my 2060 was a champ when it came to 1080p 60 gaming. I had to assume the 3060 was maybe a percent or two faster than the 2060, which it is. A percent or two. I mean, if you squint, you can tell it's a little bit faster, but yeah, I got it strictly for the memory. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Because that was, and I think still is, the cheapest 12 gig card on the market right now that you can buy that does everything I needed to do. Because I know somebody's gonna be like, "What about AMD?" And I'm like, I can give you a list of the stuff. Unfortunately, the AMD things cannot do that I need them to, and it's not gaming stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whereas I want a RX 6900 so that I can do 4K gaming at really high frame rates on a high refresh display. It is nice. I mean, I do have an RX 6600. My 1080 Ti can do some 4K, but once you want to go to the higher refresh rate, that's when you notice a big difference. Earth Aaron, yeah, he got the 3080, so he could do some Ultra HD gaming.
Now, we do have everybody's got their own technology. AMD's got the FSR, and NVIDIA, the DLSS 2.0 from NVIDIA is like jarringly good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. I didn't get it until even with DLSS 1.0, I'm like, that's pretty neat. But seeing things like Horizon Ginger Turbo and the latest Doom, or Quake, no, it's Doom, the latest one.
Yeah.
Being able to play that at UHD on a 3060, like 112 frames per second, with just everything jacked to 11. Like, I get it now. I get it. Not something that I necessarily take advantage of, but I'm like, that's a neat tech to have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I want the primary reason I want a thin little shouty boy, like an A4000, so I can get a slot back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's covering
Shrink
up
the size. Yeah.
covering up one of my PCIe holes.
Yeah, that's always an issue. God.
I've never understood that. That is like, look at a lot of motherboards. Like, one of your extra buy one slots almost is always traditionally right next to the 16.
Yeah, always.
Like,
annoying.
Why? At least the MSI board, the BE550, whatever I put in checkbox, it had the common courtesy to put the buy ones like way down at the bottom, which worked out really good because I put that RME format converter way down at the bottom, which is good because that big chunky breakout cable that is like weighs a ton isn't pulling down. It's laying on the floor now, which is good. Mm-hmm. Takes that strain relief off of it. Speaking of that, I got to make some custom cables. Jill, make some cables for me. I don't feel like
oh boy. Cables. That's a thing. My husband could do that for you.
Steve, we need to sit down and have a cable off.
Ben wants a Sheltie. I mean, I can make my own Ethernet cables and do some of that kind of stuff, but Ben wants a Sheltie.
That looks delicious.
But actually, yeah, Steven sometimes has to do modify cables and whatnot for electronics at Mattel.
We don't have to do anything fancy. I'm going to make a kind of a combo cable that's going to be doing... See, here's the beautiful thing. Ethernet is in this quasi-resistance territory where you can get away with running AES and just a balanced XLR over it, and you get all of those cables in that one, and it's all shielded. So that's about where I'm at, Steve. I can solder okay. Like, I can get the job done. It's going to hold. We're probably not going to win points for being pretty about it, but it'll get the job done. And, no, I got to make a custom cable for the blue thing. That's one of the reasons I'm pretty sure Jim at Guitar Center looked at it. He flipped it on the back, and he's like, we just got to get rid of this thing for like, I think I paid like $140 for it.
Aw.
And because it only had one XLR. It's got an XLR input. Doesn't have a XLR jack for the output. It's got a blank display. What it has is connector posts. Remember like old hi-fi gear with screws? So I got to do I got to make a XLR to spade connector.
Oh, okay.
Cable. I gotta make a couple if I want to do it right. Wire it in like that. Which is not what I've done yet. I did it like, if you're familiar, like the wrong way to do it. Not really the wrong way. Technically it works long enough to test it. Is what is I just desoldered the end of a XLR cable and got the wire strippers out. And I twisted it and made some little hooks. And screwed them in. It's working.
Oh, look what my Steve husband's made. Yeah, Boo, right after we're done here, I'm gonna go check up on our kitty cat. So it's his first day outside in quite a few days.
Geodesic dome on the left. Okay, is there context to this? Because the last bit of knowledge you dropped on us, Steve, was soldering. So you soldered the dome? Is that where we're going with this? I'm trying to put the pieces together, man. Brass to brass. All right.
Yay.
Good on you. I mean, you could have had some fun. That would be a good excuse to break out the TIG welder. Just tack it on there. Because that always gives you an excuse to get the grinder out. Make it look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 5120 by 1440 at 120 at 3060. Yeah, I'm sure it'll do it. 3060 is a great card. Like if you can get one for like $400, like long as you have the right expectation. But wait, unless your GPU dies while you're listening to me. Don't even think about buying a GPU at least until like January-ish. Because I think that's when you're going to see because that's when we're going to have the announcements out. And we just see what people do.
Yeah, the prices are just going to, yeah.
See what people do, because people are not going to dump their cards for cheap this time. Because that was just tradition. That was tradition, you know. The 20 series came out. What did you do? Hey, you needed the money for the 20 series. You got rid of your 10 series and you got your money together because GPUs coming out. Remember back in the before times when you had the launch and you just went to NVIDIA's website, you went to Newegg, you went to MicroSitter, and you just ordered a GPU and it showed up like 3 days later? Nobody has that faith anymore. Not after this. Because that went from like, hey, we announced the GPUs, and 3 years later you could buy them. Or 2.5 years later you could buy them. That's kind of fresh in everybody's memory. So nobody's going to be selling their old cards for the money, or their current cards for the money to buy the next series. So that's what I'm saying. Like, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
You're probably going to find some good deals on 30 series, but it's going to be after people have bought their 40 series that it's in their hands. Then they'll get rid of their 30 series. Because despite what everybody's promised you for the past couple of months, they're like, the flood of cards are going to be coming in from mining cards. Like,
yep. Yeah.
Like, no, they're not. And here we are all these months later. Where are they at? I mean, you're seeing like the big dumps of cards. Nah, people are holding on to those. Those cards still work. They're just waiting. They're like, don't worry. This isn't the first time crypto's crashed. What did Justin just That better not be the back of his computer. That looks like something I would do. Let's go over to our super secret private Discord. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you see anything wrong with that, John?
No.
Let's take a look.
It's a bit messy, but that's... Yeah.
Let's have a look. Let's bring it up. The people at home can judge.
Justin, you need to come in on LWDW. Maybe he's listening. I don't know.
Well, there's an Octofed in there, I can tell you that.
At least they're all the same colors.
Yeah, I don't see anything like...
No, it's good. They're good. The airflow's good.
Well, it's the back of the case. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it actually, yeah, it actually can, especially if you've got, depending on how wide the back area is, sometimes the cables can get wound up so tight they don't function as well. Live chat is judging the cable management.
Yeah, people get wound up about, like, as long as that's what the back of everybody's case looks like. You got two people. I mean, the most common, like, oh, I broke this connector, this cable's not working. The one that do cable torture to try to make it look good are also the same type of people that put their computer on their desk next to their head so they can hear it. Like, really? Yeah, the back of your...
Hi, Steve husband.
Case of your PC is very much that Homer Simpson with all the clips and stuff behind him. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to judge you.
Well, the airflows, if frequently you have hard drives back there, like SD cards or NVMe. Sometimes NVMe.
The problem with like that, there's no fans in the back panel of your case. So, like, the air existence.
Yeah. Actually, I have a couple cases that have fans back there. It's unique.
Well, for the other, all of you who don't have that particular case.
Actually, this pink case I have right now has that, but it has an extra wide. It actually has a separate chamber for the power supply. So
yeah,
that
I got
obvious.
one that has one for the power supply and the drives, and I got the Corsair, that cube, the big giant cube.
Yeah. So the mine has fans on that side too.
The only fan on that side, power supply. Well, Justin, I would argue with you. There's nothing to rebuild on that. Like, there's no fire hazards.
Aw.
I mean, you know what? If you're looking for something to do, go knock yourself out. Don't listen to people on the internet. I think it works. Nothing's grounded out. I don't see anything that has the potential to catch on fire.
That's funny.
Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you, a good way to make sure you're going to get some fire hazards is like really torture and bend your cables up to try to make them all line up in weird, unnatural ways. That's a good way to wear out the edge of a connector or pull something loose.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to get a potential fire hazard. Leave slack in your cables, kids.
Yeah, so we can't blame Justin for the way it looked because he didn't build it. So he's rebuilding it now. But no, it's not horrible. It's not horrible because, again, you don't see that side of it anyways.
Here's the problem with this. Like, we got to put a little extra snack in this because this is a only semi. You see in this bottom right hand corner, somebody's already cut some of the cable management out of this. And look at that bottom right hand corner. You see those zip ties.
Yeah.
Have been cut.
I see that, yeah.
And you see the little knife down. Well, you guys might not be able to see it at home, but yeah, this is post cable tie clipping. So it didn't look like this to begin with.
Yeah. Poor Justin. He's like, I didn't know I was getting roped into this. That's why he posts it in general, not in our live. Oh.
All right, beautiful people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, do it however you want to do it. That's fine. Like, I can't get wound up about stuff like that. I'm like, that doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't hurt me. You do you.
Yeah, I do like the Velcro ties for inside the case. Those are really nice, FX Boyd. I use those all the time. In fact, a lot of the new cases come with them, which is nice.
And I mean, unless you're like a serial killer that has a transparent side door in your computer, you don't notice it anyway.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the nice thing about having, a hidey space in the computer for putting all the cables. It helps with better airflow in the main part of the case, and then you don't have to make them look so pretty to make the case look nice.
Man, I've never been like, oh, geez, the only thing, it doesn't look pretty enough. Jill, what am I going to do?
He wrote me into this. Oh, that's great, Don M. But yeah, I am very particular now about my cable management. Just me personally. Especially because they make it so much easier now to do cable management on the nice cases.
Well, you pretty much have to go out of your way not to do cable management.
Yeah,
These days, because there's so much space back there now.
Yeah,
in the back
did
panel.
such a good job with all the holes, and they place them just right, so you have the hole going, to all the motherboard inputs, and it just, yeah.
Well, just running the wires is like super easy. Do I have, let me see,
so much nicer than the days of just having no cable management in the back. It was all, you all had to clean it up in the front with IDE cables and SCSI cables. Oh, that was hard mode.
There was no room back then,
I know.
You want to talk about back panel? There was this much room between the back panel and the actual
the motherboard
cover.
Yeah.
None. You kids with your fancy, well, here's another thing, like replacing back plates. Like, that wasn't a very common thing until kind of recently.
Yeah.
If you wanted to swap out a back plate, that was a nightmare because that meant you had to pull your motherboard out. Nobody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I go to home, then...
Yeah, the round IDE cables are really nice. And they had the glow-in-the-dark ones, too. I like those.
Here, just so I'm not... There's my cable management.
Yeah, not bad, Ven.
Nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
You just push them through the holes and you plug in the things that need plugging in. That's it. That's how you do a cable management. I completed one full cable management. That's Threadbooter, if anybody's wondering, by the way. It's not horrible. I mean, is the PC overheating? Yes, no, no. Is anything a fire hazard? Yes, no, no. Done. Close case. That's exactly where I'm at. Yeah, thinking. You know what, Arthur, and fortunately, Threadbooter is in that ginormous Obsidian Corsair case, so that high quality H2O, what was that, like a 300 something rad that you get off of our Wish Zone, fits with room to spare.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got those little baby 120 millimeter fans on it. Everything else in that case is 140. Gets the job done. All right, I gotta get to work. I gotta go do the thing. Make the data bits, transmogrify them.
Okay.
And, Patrick Schumacher liked my tweet. He's the writer of the Harley Quinn cartoon.
Okay. I'm thinking of Formula One Schumacher. No, that's Michael.
There we go. That's together.
Oh, that's nice.
All right, everyone. Be awesome. Keep real. Jordan is planning
Left for Brad tomorrow.
to do Back for Brad tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's same series.
Different game.
Mm-hmm.
Left for Brad? Was
Yeah,
Left
I know.
For Brad.
Mm-hmm.
And back, I'm letting the audience know. No. And Back
Yeah.
for Brad is
Back for Brad.
Back for Blood.
Yeah.
Now, you might be wondering, Jordan's got to work out his event game, because if you click our events on our Discord, it says Back for Brad. There's no information about when, where, time, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything taking on Chapter 2.4?
Yeah.
Is there time? Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're looking, there's 3 people interested. Barbara, Katana. So there might be room for 1 more if you want to pop in. I know sometimes, not sometimes, there was an occasion where Jordan and I were doing so miserable that Katana took time out of work to come help us out.
Yeah.
Which was nice. But yeah, check that out tomorrow if you're into that. It's pretty fun. It's pretty good. I kind of have an idea what I'm doing. Friday, we'll be back for Trackmania, as doing our duty as the Trackmania 2, Trackmania Squared Preservation Society with Filthy Casuals, keeping the game alive, finding the fun stuff, doing our points match. You can win some video games. And you don't even have to be good. You just got to be more consistent. That's going to go down at 7:30 Eastern Time. There's a schedule at twitch.tv and, of course, Saturday Linux Gamecast Weekly. We'll be back in your face at 8:30 here on Twitch. Till then, everyone, do
Bye,
something
everyone.
legal with a penguin.
Yes.